All right, folks, Yishai Fleisher here, driving around in beautiful and ancient Hebron. It's an amazing place, 4,000 years of history. And we continue to fight for Jewish rights in this ancient town. So I told the story of Hebron to Pete Hegseth. He's got military experience. He was on Fox and Friends. He's a Fox show host. He's an amazing guy. And now he's slated to be the United States' Secretary of Defense. Wow, that's amazing. And it's somebody that I know, somebody who I have tremendous respect for. And he came to Hebron to understand it for himself. So here's a segment that's going to show you Hebron and also going to show you who Pete Hegseth, the new Secretary of Defense, hopefully the nominated Secretary of Defense of the United States is. You're going to get a good sense for who he is and for what this place is about, which is awesome. And it's also just in time because this Shabbat, this Sabbath, is the Torah portion that's really fixated on the story of the purchase that Abraham made here in Hebron to bury his beloved wife Sarah. That place that he purchased would become later the tomb of the patriarchs and matriarchs, the burial place of Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob and Leah. So in this week's Torah portion, that is discussed, chapter 23 of the book of Genesis. So therefore, in this one video, you're going to get a sense of Hebron, you're going to connect to this Shabbat, and you're also going to meet Pete Hegseth, who's hopefully the next Secretary of Defense of the United States. Check it out.
I'm Pete Hegseth, and this is Battle in the Holy Land. It's not just weapons, it's weaponized language. Is it sovereign Israeli soil or occupied territories? There's the biblical and religious arguments. There's the history of this ancient land. And then there are the geographic and security realities. Right here where I'm standing is the front edge of the Judea and Samaria heights, which overlook Israel proper. Jerusalem, the Ben Gurion Airport, Tel Aviv, and beyond it on a clear day, the Mediterranean Sea. 70% of Israel's population and industrial base can be seen from this point. Whoever controls the hills of Judea and Samaria controls Israel.
Yishai Fleisher is the international spokesman for the Jewish community of Hebron.
We are on the one Jewish street that the Jews have. We basically live in 3% of this town. Jewish people always existed here. At times we were an ethnic majority. Today we're an ethnic minority. We exist on one defended street.
One defended street.
We have this one about 2-kilometer long street that we live on. Not alone. There's plenty of Arabs that live here. Now sadly, their stores have been closed because they were using those storefronts as a way to terrorize the Jews. So the IDF, the Israeli army, decided we can't protect you like this. We have to shut down these stores and we have to move them to the part of town that is wealthy, where the real Arab commerce happens. That does not mean that Arabs don't live here.
What do you say to those who say, no, the idea of shutting down storefronts is to harass? Ultimately, this is all about pushing Palestinians out of the old city of Hebron and has nothing to do with security.
Sometimes we have to take measures that aren't beautiful. I wish it wasn't like this. I wish that Arabs and Jews, who are cousins, genetically very similar language, similar religion, could live together. I wish, but right now there's a jihadist attitude and we have to defend ourselves.
When you talk to the Palestinians, they don't talk about jihad. They say the whole point is to push them out so that Jews can take over the land that they once had.
First thing, this town is 20 square kilometers. 200,000 Arabs. We respect them. They're our cousins. They have to respect us. We have every right to live in this town. We defend that. And the claims that we have somehow erased Arab life here and don't let Arabs walk around here and all that kind of stuff, that's all intended to delegitimize our rights here.
Like nearly every other dispute in this region, it centers around control of a revered holy site.
Here's the important thing, right there. You see what looks like a mosque with those 2 minarets?
Yep.
That is the tomb of the patriarchs and matriarchs. That is what this place is all about.
Mentioned over 80 times in the Bible, Hebron is inseparably linked to the tomb, also known as the Cave of Machpelah, which Abraham purchased as a family burial plot. It is the most ancient site in Judaism and the second holiest site after the Temple Mount. I crossed over to H2 and visited from the Israeli side.
Chapter 23, book of Genesis, Abraham himself purchased a plot of land that was going to be a burial cave for his whole family, the first biblical family. And he purchased it 3,800 years ago. 3,800 years ago, that's almost 4,000 years ago. Abraham comes to town. It's already, by the way, a 700-year-old city. Okay, Hebron is.
Would this be considered the second holiest site in Judaism?
Yeah, second holiest, and I also like to say second most important or second most historical for Jews, Christians, and Muslims. This place is important. This is the burial place of Abraham. Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob and Leah, the stars of the Bible. You know what the most amazing thing about this place is? It's never been destroyed. Subsequent peoples have come and they have claimed it. And they say, no, 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 we, Christianity, we are the chosen son of Abraham, so we have control. And then Islam comes and takes over and says, no, 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 we're the chosen son of Abraham, so we take control. And then we come back and we're like, no, we're the chosen son of Abraham, we want control. All right? So there's that tension in the Middle East. And that's why this place is beautiful, but it's also a place of conflict, of friction.
The massive structure itself was built over the caves by King Herod, nearly 2,000 years after Abraham's burial.
Underneath that corner, there's a cave complex. Underneath there is where the tomb of the fathers and mothers is.
That's why it's called the Cave of the Patriarchs.
Right, Cave of the Patriarchs.
I use the word tomb because I see all of this.
This building is a monument on top of that cave. Abraham's tomb, all right?
The Father Abraham, the father of all monotheistic religions, literally below us in a cave is his burial site.
That's right.
The marker is here.
That's right, his burial site, but not just burial. You know, burial sounds a little final. Look around, look at the children that are here.
Sure.
The people of the world, which is like 3 billion people who believe that Abraham is their forefather, either in body or in faith, come to this place. On this side is the marker for Sarah. It's exactly the same height, it's exactly the same build, and it's side by side. It's tomb of the matriarchs and patriarchs, fathers and mothers.
You can see day after day women coming in, honoring.
That's right.
When I look up and I look at the script up there, we're looking at Arabic.
That's right. This room is in a Muslim style. That's because the Muslims controlled this place for the last 700 years, from 1267 till 1967.
Until 1967, for hundreds of years,
700
Jews
years.
not allowed.
That's right, and Christians. So we're in the room of Jacob and Leah. Jacob had 2 wives, Rachel and Leah, right? Rachel is buried in Bethlehem, but Leah is buried here. Now Jacob had another name. His name was Israel. So the state of Israel, the people of Israel, the children of Israel, that name, its originator is buried in this building. Here we have biblical verses, but beyond that is actually a locked door, and you can't get to this side, and that's where the Muslim side is, the mosque.
The mosque is on that side.
It's on the other side. Now 10 days a year, they get full control of this building, and 10 days a year
in here as well,
during their important holidays. And 10 days a year, we get full control.
Into the mosque.
Yes, all these people
here.
here.
That shooting.
Yeah, you just had Muslims, you had Jews, Christians,
all
everybody was
in this
doing their
area.
thing. Yeah.
Prayers intermingled. How much contention was there in '67 about the fact that this was now controlled by the state of Israel?
You know, to this very day, it's a contentious site. And just recently, the Prime Minister of Israel came here. The Muslims were like, I can't believe he's coming here and stirring the pot. Well, but this is where our family is from. And that's the problem that we have. We have people that want to erase our connection to this place, and we are a stiff-necked people. We're stiff-necked. We're unwilling to be erased.
So just yesterday, I was standing 4 feet away on the other side of this wall, and I looked up and I could see the Hebrew print and the scroll, realizing that when I was standing in that mosque, I was just on the other side, between its steel doors and a guard post. It gives you a sense how close in proximity it is, and over thousands of years, how multiple faiths have come here to claim it.
The United Nations organization UNESCO recently declared the complex and all of Hebron a Palestinian site in need of protection.
UNESCO decided that this was a Palestinian World Heritage Site that is being endangered by Israel. And the United States of America left UNESCO specifically because of the anti-Hebron, anti the Tomb of the Patriarchs and Matriarchs decision that UNESCO made, and Israel soon after that followed America's suit and left UNESCO. So UNESCO want to legitimize that narrative that we're occupying.
And you believe that will never end from the Palestinian or from the Muslim perspective. You are unwanted, unwelcome here, regardless of your heritage, and you need to be gone.
Right.
So that is the core of why Hebron and why this the Cave of the Patriarchs is such a point of contention.
Absolutely. Underneath it all, there's a religious conflict here.
And ultimately, when we look at all the checkpoints and all the security protocols, it's all based on the belief that this is holy ground.
Yeah, absolutely. We can never detach ourselves from this place. That's why the Jewish people were always living here, and then when we get kicked out, we just come back here. This is where we're from.